Shalom. Call Halayimla Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakaha Kwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, better known as GMS, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David. This is your brother Mata Sabbath from the branch of the Great Millstone here in Melbourne, Australia. All right, and just want to do a response from the comment board. All right, this is from who goes by the name of Jamoris Thompson. All right, 322 from this YouTube handle. And this was a question left on one of my Sabbath videos 2 days ago. And this individual reached out and he said, Shalom Matazabath, I have a question dealing with Isaiah chapter 58 and 13. Does that mean we shouldn't really do anything on the Sabbath? Because in my spare time, I work out, play my game, and hang with my lady. But if that falls under doing my own pleasures, I want to make sure I'm not doing those things to keep the Sabbath holy, just wanting confirmation, Thawada. So to pretty much answer this individual's question, and I want to say, first off, Thawada for reaching out to me and leaving this comment. Now, to answer this question as overall, let's actually go to the actual precept itself. Let's go to Isaiah 58 and 13 so we can get some understanding. So it says, as you can see, the title, Keeping the Sabbath. All right, Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 13. If thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, and call the Sabbath a delight, the holy of the Lord Yahweh, honorable, and shalt honor him, not doing thine own ways, nor finding thine own pleasure, nor speaking thy own words. Then shalt thou delight thyself in Yahweh, and I will cause thee to ride upon the high places of the earth, and feed thee with the heritage of Jacob thy father, for the mouth of Yahweh hath spoken it. So let's just take some time, pick some of these words apart so that we can get a pretty much basic understanding, all right, but on a much deeper aspect, so to speak. So in answering your question, let's look up the word pleasure in this context, right? So let's go to the word pleasure in the Hebrew, thy pleasure.
Strong's H 2656. Chafetz. Chafetz.
Now, it says here in the outline of biblical usage, to delight, pleasure, all right, desire, longing, the good pleasure that in which one takes delight. Strong's definition says pleasure, hence abstractly desire, concretely a valuable thing, hence by extension a matter as something in mind. Acceptable, delight or delightsome, desired things, desired matter, pleasant, all right, purpose, willingly, all right. Let's check out the etymology, see what else we can pull up there. All right, so you have here
Strong's H 2654. Chafetz. Chafetz.
All right, which is just going into delight, into something to take pleasure in, right? So it's pretty much self-explanatory. In other words, anything that is something of an amusement, something that you're willingly, that you can do within the 6 days, because as the scripture says, according to the law, 6 days, all right, which let's grab that real quick. Let's get it in Exodus 20. All right. Exodus 20 and 9, it says, 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahweh thy power. And in it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within the gates. For in 6 days the Lord Yahweh made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord Yahweh blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Now, when to get a basic understanding of this, right? Let's go into the etymology, which I have pulled up here. So this is from Bible Hub, Gill's exposition of the entire Bible, going into Isaiah chapter 58 and verse 13. Now, I want to get straight to the point, which I'm going to start here. It says, if thou turn away thy foot from the Sabbath from walking or working on that day, all right, which we read in the law, not to do any labor or work, or withdrawest thy mind and affections from all worldly things. The affections being that to the mind as the feet are to the body, which carry it here and there. The time of worship under the gospel dispensation is here expressed in the Old Testament language as the service of it usually is in prophetic writings, though its proper name is the Lord's Day. See Revelation 1 and 10, and is here instance in and put for all religious institutions and services to be attended unto, and which will be greater strictness in the times referred to. It says here, from doing thy pleasure on my holy day, that is, if thou turnest away or dost abstain from doing thy own servile work, the business of thy calling, which may be agreeable for the sake of the profit of it, or from recreations and amusements, which may be lawfully indulged on another day. So in other words, going back to what the individual asks, because he stated that usually in his spare time, he likes to work out, play the game, hang with his lady, all right, which all of those things that you've stated within your comment, that will fall under doing your own pleasures, all right? So what does it look like on a Shabbat on what you should be doing that day? Well, when that day comes, all right, you should be giving yourself to reading the scriptures, all right? You should also be watching the lessons, all right, if you can get up to watching a few lessons throughout the day, all right? And basically, it's just a day of you giving yourself to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, right? Now, the flip side to that is, because I don't want to lose you or anybody else, is you have to have a balance, because you have to understand we cannot keep the Sabbath perfectly, all right? Because number one, we are not sovereign. We are not in our land to do so, okay? So it works out a little bit differently in the stead of, you may have a situation to where, let's say you may have to go to work, all right? And the scripture says that on the Sabbath, we're not supposed to work. So this is where the grace comes in. Where you fall short, that grace covers you, all right? But during that day, you should still be walking in the spirit to the best of your ability. When you get off of work, find time to, read the scriptures, all right, to do some studying, all right, to watch a few videos, all right, and just give that, yourself wholeheartedly, whether it be through prayer, all right, making supplication through the spirit, all right, whatever it is you can do to give yourself to Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, all right. But in the process of doing so, you need to be very careful of not being over righteous. Let's get Ecclesiastes 7 and verse 16. And it says, be not righteous over much, neither make thyself over wise. Why shouldest thou destroy thyself, right? So you may have a situation where, let's say it's the Shabbat, the Sabbath, and you're taking it wholeheartedly where you're not going to do absolutely nothing. All right. You're just going to, read, study, do whatever. But it may be something that day where you have to go out, let's say your car break down or your tire catch a flat. You may get called in to work, whatever the case may be. All right. There's always something going on. Why? Because number one, we're under the curses. And two, we're in captivity. All right, where we are subject to payments. That's in the book of Baruch. All right, the third chapter. OK, so this is where you have to apply wisdom. OK, knowing that we're in captivity, you're not going to keep the laws perfectly. So what we are doing is pertaining to Judges, the 5th chapter and the 11th verse. Let's have a read, which says, they that are delivered from the noise of the archers and the places of drawing water, there, meaning where we're scattered, all right, and also in the land of Babylon, the great America, which is where the bulk of the 12 tribes are currently residing today. It says, there shall they rehearse the righteous acts of Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, even the righteous acts toward the inhabitants of the villages in Israel. Then shall the people of Yahweh go down to the gates. So technically right now, we're only rehearsing the righteous acts. So by you keeping the Sabbath to the best of your ability, that's all you can do. That's all you can do at this point in time, is to keep it to the best of your ability. OK, you can't keep it 100% perfectly. All right. And that's why the scripture says in the Apocrypha, all right, what's that? Let's get Ecclesiasticus 5. And let's see here. Do I want 5 or is it 4? It might be 3. Let me type it in. All right, Sirach 17 and 25. It says, return unto Yahweh and forsake thy sins, make thy prayer before his face and offend less. All right, the key part in this verse is offend less. You can't stop offending all at one point. So I say all that to say this, don't have a heavy mind, all right, trying to keep something holy where you really can't do it because you're in captivity, okay? You can't really keep the Sabbath 100% fully. And if there's anybody that's out there saying that they're keeping it 100% fully, you're not. All right. Because every day we go off. We are programmed to go off pursuant to Romans chapter 8 and verse 20. The creature was subject to vanity. So at this stage, all we can really do is rehearse the righteous acts. All right. And that's why when the kingdom comes and we are changed, we're going to get it right on that side. But right now on this side, all we can do is rehearse and do the best we can. All right. So to end it off, I will say this to you as somebody that's learning, being in the truth. Basically, the best thing for you to do right now, all right, is anytime the Shabbat comes in, all right, you do what you can on that day by honoring Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. Like I said, you might want to devote yourself to reading, studying, watching the lessons, the videos, and anything that can be of thy own pleasure. Okay, let's actually talk about that. Some of the things that you may find time doing. You said you like to work out. All right, so that's part of your own pleasure. Don't work out on that day. All right. You like to play video games. That's something that's of pleasure. Don't do that on that day. All right. Let's say, for instance, if you're somebody who likes to watch sports, you like to catch up on games. All right. Well, I believe the beloved elder Apostle Tahar, he's into boxing, and he used to always say that whenever the Sabbath will fall on a weekend, if it fall like on a Saturday, where you have to there's a boxing match, he won't watch the game. Why? Because that's part of his own pleasure. That's what he gets into. All right, that's where he has amusement of the highlight of his day. That's something that he's into. All right, so to keep that day holy and sanctified, he wouldn't watch boxing. Okay, and what happened is he said in a lesson he did ages ago that when the Sabbath ends, he will go back and rewatch the highlights of that boxing match. And it's the same thing. If you have a favorite sport team or whatever, all right, if you into football or whatever the case may be, judging, from your YouTube picture. All right. If you heavily into football, and let's say it's the Shabbat, which today it currently is the Shabbat. It's Sunday, August the 25th. But nevertheless, or actually no, I think it's the 25th or the 26th today. But let's say you into football and there's a game on the actual Shabbat. You're not going to watch the game on the Shabbat. All right. Because that's doing your own pleasures. All right. So that's something that you can just say, not going to do that. I'm going to do something else, all right, to please Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. All right, I'm going to read a little bit. I'm going to do this a little bit, And as you continue to read more and study more, you'll start to grow, and then you'll start to know what to do, all right? But it's all in the spirit, all right? Don't go overboard. Don't try to be over righteous because you can't be perfect in keeping the Sabbath, all right? All we can do is rehearse the righteous acts. And another big thing, too, as well, because you mentioned you like to be with your lady. All right. Now, I don't know if you're saying you like to spend time with her. All right. Or if you like to do, the bedroom thing. All right. So I'll say this. If you're living with your girl, whatever, that's different. All right. You can. That's a thing. All right. I'm not trying to tell you what to do with your lady. All right. The scripture says, I know not a man with his maiden. But what I will say is you're not supposed to have sex on the Sabbath. All right. Because the Sabbath is a holy day. All right. And by you being intimate with your woman, you defile the Sabbath day. And both of you and her, or both you and her, I should say, you guys are defiled if you do that. All right. So if you have been doing that, being with your lady on the actual Shabbat, you need to stop it as of right now. All right. Because that's going off. OK, because sex also falls under pleasure. All right. And you're not supposed to be doing your own pleasures on that day. All right. Now, if you happen to be with your lady or whatever, and you guys get into some scriptures and you converse with, that's between you and her. Like I said, I'm not trying to get involved with that, but just refrain from doing anything that you find pleasure doing on other days outside of the Sabbath. All right. And technically, as the scripture says, you got 6 days to do all of what you indulge in. All right. From your labor, your work, whatever the case may be. All right. But on the Sabbath day, that's a day of rest. You're supposed to refrain from doing your own pleasures. Now, again, don't get simple minded because, like I said, brothers, even such as myself, whatever day the Sabbath falls on, a brother may have to work. All right. So what you do is you just put up a few prayers, ask Yahweh Shem Shai, to keep you, ask for forgiveness or whatever the case may be within your prayer. OK, and you just continue to walk in the spirit, be led through the spirit. All right. And that's pretty much it, the basis of it. So, I pray that, it was edifying, and I pray that I was able to give you some clarification on what you should be doing. All right. And I'm going to leave you with that. And giving all praise, glory, and honor be to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai, Ba'Shem Rakaha Kwadash. And once again, double honors to the beloved apostles and elders of Great Millstone, better known as GMS, who rule well. Peace and salutations unto the hopeful elect, the tabernacle of David. I'm your brother, Sabbath. Lord's will, this was edifying. It's on to the next. Shalom.